Have you ever asked yourself, why am I doing everything right, visualizing every night, and yet the money still isn't here? I have met countless people who carry that same frustration in their eyes. They tell me about the vision boards they've made, the affirmations they repeat, the hours spent imagining their dream life, and yet the bank account remains the same. The common assumption is that they are missing some secret opportunity, or that perhaps they simply aren't lucky. But I tell you, it is neither luck nor opportunity that determines your wealth. It is assumption. By assumption, I do not mean wishful thinking. I mean the quiet, unshakable acceptance of a thing as already true, even before one fragment of evidence appears. Most people believe money is earned only through effort, through endless work, strategic plans, and the right timing. But your outer financial condition is not shaped by the economy, your job, or your background. It is a mirror of what you have accepted as true about yourself in the privacy of your own mind. If deep within you there is an image of one who struggles to get ahead, no amount of outer action will contradict it for long. Even a sudden windfall will eventually dissolve, for the state you occupy will always reassert itself. This is the foundation of the law of assumption, a principle I have taught for years, not as a theory to admire, but as a living reality to prove. The first and most fatal error people make is to imagine wealth while feeling poor. They think about money while secretly assuming its absence. They affirm abundance while continuing to speak about bills, scarcity, and the rising cost of living. You cannot plant the seed of a rose while holding the conviction that only thorns will grow. To be conscious of being poor while asking for riches is to be rewarded with that which you are conscious of being, poverty. When I speak of manifesting money, I am not speaking about chasing it. I am speaking about embodying the state of already being wealthy, not through arrogance, not through fantasy, but through the same quiet conviction you hold about your own name. If I asked you right now, are you yourself? You would not hesitate. That is the same level of certainty with which you must dwell in the state of financial freedom. It is not about performing rituals, nor about counting how many days you have practiced. It is about waking each morning as a version of yourself who is already free. So I say to you tonight, stop asking when the money will come or how. Instead, ask this: if I were already financially free, how would I feel? That feeling is the gateway, the moment you dare to step through it, not as a visitor, but as a resident. The outer world begins to rearrange itself in obedience. Because reality, my friends, always follows assumption. Stay with me, for I am about to give you the precise method to shift your inner state, and when you do, your outer financial world will have no choice but to change. Before you can change your financial life, you must first see clearly why your past efforts have failed. Many think the obstacle is out there: the high cost of living, an unfair boss, the economy, the lack of opportunity. And yes, those things can be real pressures, but they are not the true cause of your financial condition. The true cause is far closer. It is not in the stock market or in the hands of the government. It is in the quiet image you carry of yourself, the role you have been playing without even knowing it. You might have tried saving more, working extra hours, taking new courses, or moving from one opportunity to another. And yet, when you look back over the years, the same patterns remain. The numbers may change, but the feeling does not. You are still living from a place of not enough. Think of the times you received an unexpected bonus, or managed to pay off a small debt, only to find yourself struggling again a few months later. Think of the energy it takes to keep chasing, always chasing the next payment, the next customer, the next small break. It is like being in a play you did not write, performing lines you do not remember choosing. And in this play, your part is always the one who just manages to get by. Maybe you know the feeling of checking your account before rent is due, hoping the balance will be enough. Maybe you felt the knot in your stomach when a letter arrives marked past due. Maybe you've taken the long way home just to avoid passing your landlord's door when you know the rent is late, or stayed quiet when a collector knocked pretending no one was inside. Perhaps you've even parted with something you cherished, a watch, a piece of jewelry, just to meet an urgent need, or delayed repairing the car, or avoided opening the mailbox because you didn't want to face what might be inside. These are not just experiences. They are rehearsals of an identity. Every time you react in the same way, you are reminding yourself, this is my role. This is who I am. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Life does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. So if you are still carrying the inner picture of the struggler, the one barely making it, or the unlucky one, then all the effort in the world will simply decorate that same role. You might earn more, but you will still feel the same fear when the bills arrive. You might change jobs, but the pressure will follow you there. This is why change has felt so temporary. The stage may shift, but the actor has not. Before the numbers change, the identity must change. And that work begins not in the bank, but in the unseen chamber of your own imagination. Now that you understand why so many fail, let us move from understanding to doing. I want you to set aside all ideas of complicated rituals, strict schedules, or waiting for the perfect moment. What we are about to do is far simpler and far more powerful. It is the quiet work of the mind, done in stillness, and it will feel so natural that you may wonder how it could possibly change anything, and yet it will. Begin by asking yourself in the privacy of your own heart, if I were already financially free, how would I feel? Not what would I buy? Where would I live? But what would the atmosphere of my inner world be? Would it feel like relief, like security, like the deep calm of knowing there is nothing to fear? Imagine waking up and knowing every bill is paid. No letters marked past due, no numbers in red. Imagine opening your bank account and seeing more than enough for this month and the next. Imagine the lightness in your chest as you realize you could choose to work or to rest, and either way you are safe. No more worrying about whether you can cover next month's rent. No more lying awake, wondering how to pay your children's school fees. No more silent panic every time the car makes a strange noise, afraid it will mean another repair you cannot afford. That is the feeling we are seeking. Not a number in a bank ledger, but the freedom of being untouchable by lack. Once you have touched that feeling, give it a place to live. Let it be a short, ordinary scene you can return to again and again. Perhaps you are sitting at your kitchen table, smiling as you glance at a bank statement. Perhaps you hear a dear friend saying, "I'm so happy for you." Perhaps you feel the crisp edge of a banknote between your fingers. It does not need to be grand or elaborate. In fact, the smaller and simpler it is, the more easily your mind will accept it. Repeat it gently in your imagination until it begins to feel less like a fantasy and more like a memory, something you have known before. And when night comes, carry that feeling with you into sleep. This is the golden moment. As your body relaxes and the outer world fades, the door to your deeper mind swings open. Do not let doubt step in at the last moment. Do not return to worry. Let your final moments of awareness be spent as the one who already lives in financial freedom. Drift into sleep as that person, and the impression will be sealed. What is impressed must in time be expressed. I recall a young man in New York who once wrote to me. He was drowning in debt, exhausted from long hours of work, and yet never seemed to get ahead. He told me he decided to apply exactly what I have just shared with you. He imagined one small scene. Himself at his kitchen table, looking down at a bill stamped, paid in full. No fireworks, no crowds cheering, just a quiet moment of relief. He let that feeling sink so deeply into him that each night it became the final thing he knew before sleep. Within a month, an old client unexpectedly offered him a freelance contract that cleared nearly all his debt. It felt like magic, he said, but I knew I was only watching reality catch up to who I had already become. This is not magic, it is law, and the law is always faithful. You accept it within, and the world accepts it without. Once you see that you have been living from an old role, the next step is not to fight it, but to quietly step out of it. You do not beg the world to change. You do not plead with circumstances to be different. You rise in your own mind and take on the state of the one who already is what you desire to be. This is not pretending. This is the only reality that matters, the reality within. Close your eyes tonight, and instead of rehearsing the day's worries, rehearse the scene that would be true if your desire were already fulfilled. If you seek financial freedom, then hear what you would hear if it were yours. Feel what you would feel lying in bed at night, knowing the rent is paid, the debts are cleared, and your table is full. Imagine waking in the morning with no anxious list in your mind, no knot in your chest, but a quiet readiness for the day. Do not imagine the money itself. Imagine the effect of having it, the ease in your step, the warmth in your voice, the calm in your heart. You may, for a time, be tempted to look at the facts and say, but it isn't here yet. That is the voice of the old role calling you back to the stage you have left. Refuse it. Every time you feel that old tension, turn again to the inner scene. Clothe yourself in the tone of the free and prosperous one. Let that feeling be more vivid to you than any letter in the mail, any figure in your account. And here is the great secret. Once you truly occupy that inner state, the outer world will rearrange itself without your effort. Opportunities will appear as if from nowhere. The right people will say the right words at the right time. What once seemed fixed and immovable will shift like scenery on a stage. It may come through a promotion, a new idea, an unexpected gift, or a door you never thought to open. The how is never your concern. Your only work is to live inwardly as if it were already done. And if doubt comes, and it will, remember that the world is only echoing your inner tone. Change the tone, and the echo must change. So tonight, do not go to bed as the struggler. Do not lay your head down as the one barely getting by. Slip quietly into the skin of the one who is free. Feel the weight lift. Feel the relief spread. Let the deep calm of security wash over you. Fall asleep in that feeling and let it carry you into the morning. For what you are in consciousness, you will be in the world. Now let us go into the silence.